Just ahead, there's another edition of the Florida Roundtable, a service of Florida's Talk and Entertainment Networks. I'm Reagan Smith, Public Affairs Director of the Florida News Network.
And I'm Executive Producer Michael Yaffee.
Michael, a pleasure to be with you again this week. And this week, our focus on your personal health. Risky drug-nutrient interactions. Oh, take this. It's wonderful. It'll do great things for you name it. You know, we've got cures for everything now, and there's a pill to go with it. Well, we have one of the country's greatest experts on the risky interactions of those things with prescription drugs. So we invite you to pull up a chair, put an ear on the radio. The Florida Roundtable begins following these messages.
If you're in the market for a walk-in tub, stop and listen to this. Now, you can buy direct from the manufacturer and save more than 50%. You won't pay $20,000. You won't pay $15,000. You won't even pay $10,000. Boca walk-in tubs are made right here in America by veterans. We're certified and virtually 100% of our tubs are made in the USA. A Boca walk-in tub is made from gel-coat fiberglass. Other manufacturers use acrylic, which is basically plastic. We can deliver a walk-in tub anywhere in the U.S. and have it installed in no time at all. And everybody that calls right now can save $500 towards the purchase of a new walk-in tub. Call now and learn how to get a walk-in tub and save more than 50% off retail prices.
Call 800-308-4917. 800-308-4917. 800-308-4917. Again, that's 800-308-4917.
Terrorist acts and shootings are often described as great tragedies. They are not. We live in a world so concerned with being politically correct that they're afraid to call evil what it is, evil. Man's sin nature is as old as the Garden of Eden. Many love to blame culture, poverty, or lack of education and opportunity as the problem. They may have a good or bad impact, but the big problem is sin. Acknowledging our sin nature will show us our need for a Savior who changes us from within. That Savior's name is Jesus. He came to die for the sins of all who will acknowledge their sin. Faith in Him strikes a mighty blow at evil. So quit calling man's evil acts a tragedy. They are evil and God hates it. Yet thankfully He loves us in spite of our evil and sin. Jesus not only forgives us, but gives us the want to overcome evil with good. This is Brian Wright, speaking right from my heart.
This is the Florida Roundtable, a service of Florida's Talk and Entertainment Networks. I'm Reagan Smith, Public Affairs Director of the Florida News Network.
And I'm Executive Producer Michael Yaffee.
Michael, a pleasure to be with you again this week. And in just a few moments, we're going to be joined by Dr. Michael Roizen. He is the Chief Wellness Officer of the Wellness Institute of the Cleveland Clinic. The Cleveland Clinic, the one in Cleveland. The world-renowned, where... when I was a kid growing up, it was always a big deal at the Cleveland Clinic. About once a year, the king of Saudi Arabia would come to Cleveland with his whole entourage. He had heart problems. He had heart problems.
Yeah, I remember that.
And they would take over a whole floor of the hospital, and he would come and stay for about a month to have his heart work done and checkups and all that kind of thing.
Wow.
He would come from Saudi Arabia.
And he could go anywhere in the world, so that says a lot.
Yes, it does. That impressed me as a young man, and the Cleveland Clinic is huge and continues to impress me to this very day. And Dr. Michael Roizen, their Chief Wellness Officer, is going to be here in a couple of minutes. But medicine, we're gonna focus on this drug and nutrient interaction. People who are on prescriptions, but buy over-the-counter supplements. Did you know that some of those things could be risky when you mix them together? Well, it can happen. You know, you can scarcely turn on a television today and leave it for more than 5 or 6 minutes without seeing medical commercials, medicine commercials.
That's very true.
Recommending
Big
pills.
business.
And at the end, they say, caution, it may have side effects, you know, and they give you this long list that says, and possibly death. Huh?
Yeah, I know.
That happens too. I got to thinking about that, and years ago when our grandparents, around our great-grandparents, a guy in a wagon used to come into the town square, And he had magical elixirs in quart bottles, the old cap jars, you know.
All right.
And for $5 or $1, you got a bottle of this elixir. And you drank this stuff. You don't know what was in it. And it could cure anything. That's what he did.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Listen, this would melt the wax in your ears, clean the lint out of your navel, and cure a summer rash that you had last year, you know, for $1. And he would come around, and that's how they would do this. But that was the beginning of the mass marketing of our medical profession. Think about that.
Yeah, it's a little bit better today. Just a little bit.
I hope.
Well, I also know that a lot of soda, that we drink, didn't a lot of that start as medicine?
Yes.
It was supposed to be a medicine.
Yes. Yeah.
Now we kind of drink it for the pleasure of it, and some doctors even don't want you drinking it. But I know back in the day when it first came out, it was supposed to be a medicine.
Oh, yeah. It was big stuff. And, of course, the story is famous now. Most people realize when Coca-Cola first came along, it was laced with real cocaine.
Yeah.
And President McKinley used to drink it in the White House. They thought it was great fun. And the government didn't decide it was bad for us until we got into the 1930s. And then it became thou shalt not. And but today, you go into any of your pharmacies and you just find aisles full of all kinds of things.
And a lot of it's over the counter. Like you said, these supplements, these vitamins, you don't need a prescription. You don't need approval to get it. You can just go and get it.
Yeah, if you want to take rose hips.
I have no idea what that is.
I don't either. And I didn't know that roses had hips. But I've seen vitamin C with rose hips,
Okay.
Okay, then. You don't have to ask anybody. You just walk it up to the counter and pay for it and take it home with you. And if you're on blood pressure medicine or blood thinners or who knows what you might be taking and what kind of interaction you might get from something that you think is safe to buy over the counter. Well, something for you to think about. And especially here in Florida, lots and lots of folks doing these kind of things. And Dr. Michael Roizen has got a website, and he's written books and got all kinds of advice on how to be careful with the over-the-counter medications and how they might interact with your personal prescription. So I think this is a conversation you're going to enjoy. We'll pause along our network line here and remind you that this is the Florida Roundtable, a service of Florida's Talk and Entertainment Networks. I'm Reagan Smith.
And I'm Michael Yaffee.
The conversation continues in a moment.
Here's a special message for those of you who owe the IRS at least $10,000 or more in back taxes. The IRS has special programs in place that could eliminate or reduce your tax debt by thousands of dollars. Call the Federal Tax Management Helpline that has been set up for you, 800-267-1344. Stop the wage garnishments, levies, and tax liens now. Once you've qualified and enrolled, the IRS will stop all the collection activities against you. These unique programs have been allocated to help the economy and significantly reduce or eliminate your tax burden. The IRS is currently accepting reduced settlements and other favorable programs. You may qualify for substantial savings, so get the help you need. If you owe more than $10,000 in taxes, call for free information and to see if you qualify. Take down the number now for the Federal Tax Management Hotline, 800-267-1344. That's 800-267-1344. 800-267-1344.
In a world of tiny tomatoes and backyard pests, one man and his better half dig deep to save backyard gardens.
Joni, stand by to upload expert videos.
Already loaded, Tom.
Wow, you're good.
You're not so bad yourself.
Tom and Joni McCubbin star in hisandhersgardening.com. Critics rave.
Tom and Joni, they really grow on you.
2 green thumbs up.
Don't miss hisandhersgardening.com.
Wow, your flowers are gorgeous. What's your secret?
It's no secret. It's Bare Advanced.
You mean these blue bottles?
Uh-huh. I protect my beauties with all-in-one rose and flower care. It's insect and disease control plus fertilizer.
Really? What's this 12-month tree and shrub protect and feed?
Oh, I use it on my trees. It kills bugs for up to a year, plus it feeds. It's that easy. Hey, where are you going?
To get my own. I want a great yard, too.
Bare Advanced. Get more from the blue bottle. Always read and follow label instructions.
This is the Florida Roundtable, a service of Florida's Talk and Entertainment Networks. I'm Reagan Smith, Public Affairs Director of the Florida News Network.
And I'm Executive Producer Michael Yaffee.
Michael, a pleasure to be with you again this week. Kind of shifting gears here a little bit, something different for us. Personal health and well-being, and actually a very important topic. Risky drug-nutrient interactions. And we are going to have with us Dr. Michael Roizen, more than 40 years of experience as a medical doctor. He has been the doctor to 8 Nobel Prize winners, more than 100 of the Fortune 500 CEOs, and he currently serves as the Chief Wellness Officer of the Wellness Institute at the Cleveland Clinic. Now, of course, you know that the Cleveland Clinic is consistently ranked as one of the 10 best hospitals in the United States. He's a medical consultant to Dr. Oz and the TV show. He's written 14 books, including 4 New York Times bestsellers. And boy, I'll tell you what, the bio notes go on and on. So let me say, Dr. Roizen, welcome to the Florida Roundtable.
It's a privilege to be here, Reagan. Thank you.
Well, aside from all that I've just told them, maybe you could take a minute and tell us a little bit about yourself. You know, I was born and where you were educated and how you ended up at the Cleveland Clinic.
Well, I grew up for the first 17 years. We're in Buffalo, New York. I then went to Williams College, which is a small school in western Massachusetts. Then the University of California, San Francisco Medical School. During the Vietnam era, I served at NIH, at the National Institute of Health, in what was the Coast Guard at that time. And then went to University of California, San Francisco on the faculty there for 9 years, then was chair of the Department of Anesthesia, Critical Care, Pain Management, and started the executive health program at the University of Chicago because we learned that the major risk in outcome, or the major cause of adverse outcomes or associate of adverse outcomes in after surgery was your age. So independent of your kidney function or your liver function or other things, or your heart function, your age was in fact the major factor. And so we looked at how to make you younger in the 2 weeks surrounding your surgery, which is what we did at University of Chicago and now do at the Cleveland Clinic. I was then recruited to the Cleveland Clinic and in anesthesia, critical care, and pain management. I've had, just a slight difference from the introduction, I've had 9 overall New York Times bestsellers, but 4 number ones. And Real Age became such a success that I got, if you will, taken up into the area of how do we change the rate of aging of our employees and patients so that they could live with less disability longer. And that process is what has led to this. So it's a roundabout way of getting to the point where we're having a sizable benefit in both treating disease, what we call the care part of healthcare, but we're also beginning to get a revolution in health, that is in having people live younger, longer, and that's what we're seeing, and that's what the topic that we're talking about today is: how do you avoid what we would call unforced errors? How do you avoid drug supplement interaction problems so that you don't have something accidental happen to you that shortens your rate of aging?
Well, now, having said that, leads me directly to my first question then. And, of course, countless numbers of people taking supplements that are over the counter, vitamin C, glucosamine, chondroitin, all kinds of things are out there. And as we age, we end up on prescription drugs too. How big of a problem is this interaction of over-the-counter things with people's personal prescriptions?
Well, we don't know exactly how big a problem it is, meaning we know there are 650 interactions which can cause serious adverse events. So we know that there are a huge number, and in fact, one of the news stories last week was a large study done of people taking high blood pressure pills, and 19% of the people taking high blood pressure pills were on drugs that were dangerous for them, meaning they interacted to cause either variations in your blood pressure both up and down, or they caused problems that caused your blood pressure to go higher in a obviously a potentially detrimental way. So we know that at least 20% of the people taking high blood pressure pills in this large study of over 500,000 people is a problem. But whether it is much greater than 20% of all people taking drugs, that's pretty high as it is. And we know some of them are serious and some are less serious, they're nuisance. For example, the FDA had a warning last week on one of these. So vitamin B7 biotin, which is often taken by women especially for strengthening nails and hair and skin, it resulted in someone being discharged from an emergency room with chest pain because it gave a false sense of security to the physicians, because the troponin, the measurement we make of is this a heart attack or not, was falsely depressed by the biotin in their pills. So just something as simple as one of the vitamins taken in a little higher dose by this woman resulted in a false low suppression of the troponin level, and thus a misdiagnosis or missed her diagnosis of a heart attack, which she later that day died of, even though she had been in an emergency room, was discharged from it. So some of these are very serious, and that's why the PersonaNutrition.com website is so useful in finding those out. Many of the, it is 60% of us don't tell our physician or our pharmacist about all the supplements we're on. One, it's too much of a bother, right? We have, if you will, you go into a store, you pick something else up. Why do you bother go to the pharmacist and tell them you've picked that up when a friend recommended it to you? And so that's why this website has started and has gained some fair bit of following for its success in doing that.
The CDC says that 68% of Americans are taking dietary supplements. Seems like a pretty large number to me. Do you think maybe too many people in this country are taking these supplements when they don't have to?
Well, let me go and say there's, I'm going to go and just talk about, so the 10-year data on multivitamins, which got very big headlines in the New York Times and every other newspaper, said throw your vitamins away, they don't do any good. The 20-year data from the same group, it was the Harvard group studying the physician's health study and the nurse's health study and a number of other studies, the health professional study, the 20-year data showed a 25% reduction in heart attacks, an 18% reduction in all cancers. So it's clear to me that the data are pretty good that there are 8 supplements or vitamins, one of which is a multivitamin, half a multivitamin morning and half in the evening, are beneficial for slowing our rate of aging or letting us be healthier longer. So I am not sure that this is, if you will, a mistake for 68%. Another, let me go and give you, and so it's just not old people's problem. If you will, if you take a prenatal multivitamin for 3 months prior to your being pregnant, you decrease autism risk and autism spectrum disorders in offspring by 40%. You decrease childhood cancers, that is the cancer in the offspring, for the first 6 years of life by 65%, and you decrease major congenital defects by 85%. So I think all women in the childbearing age should do it, not just all of us over the age of 50. So I think there's a lot of data that, in fact, show a sizable benefit for taking some dietary supplements. Another one that, and I don't mean to go on like this, but another one we all know about vitamin D. The New York Times did a story a couple of weeks ago about maybe this is overdone because the person who did it had financial interest in a company that did vitamin D testing. Well, in fact, the data are pretty good that we need that a vitamin D level above 30 nanograms per milliliter is much more is sizably beneficial in preventing breast and probably prostate cancer than one under 30, and more than 60% of us have levels under 30. Another one that got a news story several weeks ago was that aspirin didn't help prevent primary heart attacks. Well, if you looked at the data on the 12,000 people, it was that 4,000 didn't take the aspirin in the group that was supposed to. If you did take the aspirin the way you were supposed to, that is, if you were hooray for OCD was the title of.
And Dr. Roizen, unfortunately, we're going to have to pause there. Hold that thought. We'll let you come back and finish it up. But we must remind the folks that they are listening to the Florida Roundtable. I'm Reagan Smith.
And I'm Michael Yaffee.
Our very special guest from Cleveland Clinic is Dr. Michael Roizen. We'll be back in a moment.
Are you worried about your mom or dad living alone in their house? Hi, I'm Joan London. Listen, I know how difficult it is to find senior care for someone you love. That's why I recommend a free service called A Place for Mom. They are the nation's largest senior living referral service. Call A Place for Mom today.
To receive free information on senior living communities in your area, call A Place for Mom at 1-800-750-4356.
A Place for Mom offers free one-on-one advice from local advisors and a personalized list of senior living communities you can visit. If you have questions about senior care for your mom or dad, there's a place for answers, A Place for Mom.
Call A Place for Mom in the next 10 minutes to get your free ebook on financing senior care as well as free information on senior living communities in your area. Call 1-800-750-4356. That's 1-800-750-4356.
Florida's boating environment is always changing. New sunsets, new experiences that you won't find anywhere else on Earth. But one thing that never changes: boating while impaired by drugs or alcohol. It's illegal in the state of Florida. Boating under the influence will land you in jail, or worse, kill someone you love. It's just simply not a risk worth taking. Learn more about Florida's boating laws at myfwc.com. Brought to you by the FWC Division of Law Enforcement.
Your yard's days of being picked on are over, thanks to the science of Bayer Advanced Brush Killer Plus. Its penetrating formula is specifically designed to kill hard-to-control brush, like kudzu, poison ivy, poison oak, and wild berries, roots and all. And the concentrate product even kills stumps, so your yard never has to worry about being bullied. Bayer Advanced. Get more from the blue bottle. BayerAdvanced.com. Always read and follow label directions.
Terrorist acts and shootings are often described as great tragedies. They are not. We live in a world so concerned with being politically correct that they're afraid to call evil what it is, evil. Man's sin nature is as old as the Garden of Eden. Many love to blame culture, poverty, or lack of education and opportunity as the problem. They may have a good or bad impact, but the big problem is sin. Acknowledging our sin nature will show us our need for a Savior who changes us from within. That Savior's name is Jesus. He came to die for the sins of all who will acknowledge their sin. Faith in Him strikes a mighty blow at evil. So quit calling man's evil acts a tragedy. They are evil and God hates it. Yet thankfully, He loves us in spite of our evil and sin. Jesus not only forgives us, but gives us the want to overcome evil with good. This is Brian Wright, speaking right from my heart.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
From Pensacola to Key West and all points in between, you're listening to the Florida Roundtable, a service of Florida's Talk and Entertainment Networks. I'm Reagan Smith.
And I'm Michael Yaffee.
Our very special guest this day is Dr. Michael Roizen. He is with the Cleveland Clinic. He currently serves as the Chief Wellness Officer of the Wellness Institute at the Cleveland Clinic. And we are talking about risky drug-nutrient interactions. Obviously, a very important topic for anybody who is on any kind of prescription medicine. And, Doctor, when we went into that last break, you were talking about this business of aspirin and preventing heart attacks and whatnot. And I wanted to let you go back and finish up that thought.
Well, so the data were clear that if you, the way the study was done, it said the headline was aspirin doesn't prevent primary heart attacks. Well, in the randomized study, in what they called intention to treat analysis, it didn't. It had a 4% reduction, which wasn't statistically significant. But among the people who took the aspirin regularly, that is, took 60% of the time at least, they took the aspirin, and that brings up another problem. We aren't taking pills as regularly as we should. But in those who took it at least 60% of the time, it prevented 47% of heart attacks. So 47% is a huge benefit. So again, it's one of those 8 things in the dietary supplement, the non-prescription areas, that we think you should take and, if you will, take in a regular and religious fashion, if you will, because it does have a strong benefit.
Now, we hear an awful lot about this CoQ10. We see it on television all the time, and I want to ask you about that. Blood concentrations, blood plasma decrease, CoQ10. How do we understand this?
Well, in other words, statins, so one of the things is if you go to the personanutrition.com, it explains all of those and gives the references. So we did that as a site. You could find all the references and learn, but those are mainly the scientific references. So we try and explain it in lay terms what those mean as well. But essentially the point of this is that the statins, especially the modern statins, that is the old Lipitor, what's called a torvastatin, and the old Crestor, which is called rosuvastatin, those are metabolized by a enzyme in your stomach lining. So you get about 50% of those, which is why you want to take them 2 hours different from grapefruit, because grapefruit occupies that enzyme and you don't metabolize it at all, so you get more of an effect. So that's one of the interactions. The second one is that those also affect your liver production of coenzyme Q10 and the in-cell production of coenzyme Q10, which is important in your energy level, especially in your muscles. So coenzyme Q10 is part of that chain, and there's about a 50% reduction in coenzyme Q10 within about 3 months of starting a statin. So it often doesn't come up immediately, meaning it's a slower effect on reducing coenzyme Q10. So you might feel like you're getting old or tired, but it is really we think, a lack of coenzyme Q10. Now, to my knowledge, there are no randomized studies showing that coenzyme Q10, if you give it, restores that energy level, but it appears, at least anecdotally in a number of reports, that giving 200 milligrams of coenzyme Q10 at the same time as you start taking a statin helps you feel more energy or not decrease your ability to do exercise, do physical activity, do walking and running after, or even just movement after you've gotten the coenzyme, after you've started taking the statin drugs.
So I live here in Florida, and like a lot of people, I have to take allergy medication because of everything that's in the air in Florida. Is there any kind of supplement that I would be able to take with my allergy medication to help me out?
Well, the part of the problem on allergy medicine is that it does interact, and with a number of supplements, as you indicated, and another part of the problem is that there are so many interactions that even a physician who's involved in this area, myself, can't remember them all. So that's why we say you should tell your pharmacist or tell your, if you will, not only your pharmacist but your doctor, everything you're taking, because the computer programs, just like the one at Persona Nutrition, have all of those, or have many of them, embedded into it. So although there are interactions between allergy medicine, such as the histamine drugs and many other drugs, I can't give you all of them, and I don't remember all of them, so even I use a computer program to make sure I don't forget any of them.
What I think I hear you saying, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but we're talking about personalizing our nutrition and focusing on the person as a whole. And am I getting into the point there?
That's exactly right. In other words, that although, as you brought up, a lot of us take glucosamine or chondroitin sulfate for joint pain, especially, if you will, the gout or osteoarthritis, or even add ASU to that. Those have interactions with other things that might affect your heart or might affect your kidneys, and so you should know about those and be warned so that you know what precautions to take.
Now, are there many doctors that have access to this computer program? Is it something that a lot of doctors use?
Well, usually the electronic medical record, there are two real common ones, have some of these, but not all of them embedded in them. And that's because in their list of medications and supplements that they have, they don't list all of the medications and supplements that a patient may take. For example, if you're taking ASU or glucosamine chondroitin sulfate with ASU, many of those don't have those. The two major ones, at least at my last use of one of them a day ago, did not have that supplement or those supplements in their list, so you couldn't even see if there was an interaction. And that's one of the reasons why Persona Nutrition did this major list of just looking at every supplement and all the interactions, and that's why they have the 650 different interactions on their way that you can get by just putting in the supplements and the medications on their website. So that's useful. So anyone can have access to Persona Nutrition. As far as the if you will, the specific one on medical records, the major supplements and the major vitamins, everyone has that in their electronic medical record.
Now, this is Persona Nutrition, all one word, personanutrition.com?
Right, and it used to be Vitamin Packs. I don't know why they changed their name, because I thought Vitamin Packs was pretty easy.
Yeah.
But it is personanutrition.com, and it does help you. They also have these packages where they'll put everything that you should take in the morning and everything you should take in the evening in a little packet, like a pill packet, but they do it with supplements and fairly convenient. But
all right, tell you what,
Doctor.
Doctor.
The main thing I wanted to talk about.
All right, hold that thought, because we have to pause again here. We'll come back to that. But we have to remind folks that they are listening to the Florida Roundtable, a service of Florida's Talk and Entertainment Networks. I'm Reagan Smith.
And I'm Michael Yaffee.
Our very special guest this day is Dr. Michael Roizen. He is the Chief Wellness Officer of the Wellness Institute at the Cleveland Clinic. We're talking about drug-nutrient interactions and their various risks. And if you'll stay put, we'll continue in a moment.
Want to fly somewhere? Looking for cheap flights or cheap tickets? Then call. That's right. Call the low-cost airline travel hotline now for prices so low we can't publish them anywhere. Low Cost Airlines has all kinds of cheap travel deals. Fly domestically and save up to 75%. You can even fly internationally and save even more. Yes, fly anywhere in the world and save a lot of money on your plane tickets. We'll even save you money with cheap travel deals on hotels, rental cars, even complete travel packages. So don't book your tickets until you call us first for the absolute cheapest prices on U.S. and international airline tickets and hotels. Call right now for prices so low they can't be published. Travel experts are here 24/7 to help. 800-754-4531. 800-754-4531. 800-754-4531. That's 800-754-4531.
Have you heard of Wet and Forget Shower? You just spray it on today and rinse clean tomorrow. Once a week after your shower, just spray it on all your shower surfaces, even glass doors. The next day, rinse clean. With Wet and Forget Shower, you can breathe easy because there's no harsh fumes. And no scrubbing, too. Make cleaning easy. Pick up Wet and Forget Shower at Home Depot, Lowe's, Ace, or visit wetandforget.com to find a store near you.
From scenic lakes and rivers to picturesque bays, Florida has many beautiful waterways that are perfect for exploring by canoe. But even when paddling on calm water, it's important to be prepared for the journey, regardless of your experience level. Be sure you're physically ready for the effort, and always wear your life jacket. Before you go, know your limits. Safe boating is no accident. To learn more, visit the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission at myfwc.com.
We are back. You're listening to the Florida Roundtable, the service of Florida's Talk and Entertainment Networks. I'm Reagan Smith.
And I'm Michael Yaffee.
Our very special guest today is Dr. Michael Roizen. He is the Chief Wellness Officer of the Wellness Institute of the Cleveland Clinic. And it is a pleasure having you with us, Doctor. A lot of interesting information here. And I know, including me, lots of folks taking those over-the-counter supplements in addition to prescription medication. This is an eye-opener, things that you need to know about. But when we went into that break, we were talking about the PersonaNutrition.com website and how they have packaged and make recommendations that make it simple for you to know what to take in the morning when you get up or what to take in the evening when you go to bed. And I wanted to let you finish up that thought.
Well, that's right. So they package it so it's easy for you. For example, as I said, when we talk about the rate of aging, there are at least 8 supplements, and I'll go through. I told them multivitamin, half of it in the morning, half in the evening. Why half in the morning and half in the evening? That's because you will urinate out the water-soluble components in 12 to 16 hours. You see that by the change in color of your urine. Well, you want, in order to get a stable level and to have the effect we think is most desired, you want half of it in the morning and half in the evening. Well, most of us don't break our multivitamin that way. But Persona Nutrition packages half a dose so you get it in the morning and the evening. Another one is you want baby aspirin has a benefit in the morning and in the evening. The anti-clotting effect, that is heart attack and stroke prevention, is you can take it once every 36 hours or once a day would be fine. But the anti-cancer effect looks like you need a bigger dose, meaning take a full aspirin, or better yet, take take a baby aspirin, a quarter of a total big aspirin, a baby aspirin in the morning and in the evening. So you would want those packaged, if you will, in the way that gives it to you that way, rather than you having to fill in the plastic container that I see most people use. And so they give you this little pack. Vitamin D also has a benefit. It's fat soluble, so you only need it once a day. You can take it morning or evening. The DHA omega-3, 900 milligrams, is what helps prevent both macular degeneration and brain dysfunction in the randomized studies. So you want 900 milligrams. Well, taking it all at once is a little much, so you might take 450 in the morning and 450. It's the omega-3. Omega-3s in general, when you get fish oil, that's not as appropriately beneficial as DHA. So DHA is one of the fish oils, but we haven't seen any benefit from EPA, which is the majority of fish oil in, quote, fish oils. And you want the DHA component, not the EPA. And so there are, if you will, you want a certain amount of calcium and magnesium, and you kind of want them at the same time. So there are, if you will, 8 of these supplements that have been shown in at least 4 studies in humans to be associated with a decreased rate of aging. There are some for specific conditions. I mentioned ASU, glucosamine, and chondroitin sulfate. That's really beneficial for arthritis. The ASU has one randomized controlled study in America, several in France, done in France, showing it decreases disease progression as well as help relieves pain. So there are, those are all turmeric, for example, shown to decrease your inflammation in your brain. Again, you want to take ones where you're concerned with those problems and not take ones that don't have good scientific evidence. And so the PersonaNutrition.com website tells you that, shows you can click on it and find the references, and then a little lay explanation of the reference as well. And if you want to talk to a nutritionist, you can do that by clicking on the Talk to a Nutritionist button as well.
All right. You have a new book out. You're a co-author of a new book that's called Age Proof: Living Longer Without Running Out of Money or Breaking a Hip. I wanted to give you an opportunity to talk a little bit about what the general message is in that book.
Yeah, so Gene Chatsky and I wrote the book Age Proof. We were actually both being interviewed. We did a pilot for one Endemol, one of the major producers of reality TV shows, on the experts. And there was a legal expert and a fashion expert, an interior design expert. Gene, who's the today financial expert, if you will, editor, and I was the medical expert they asked. And the pilot didn't work, but Gene called me after we got the rejection from the pilot and said, let's write a book together, because the things that benefit you, the habits that you have, the things you do to prevent financial problems are the same ones you do to prevent breaking a hip or, if you will, losing your memory. Why don't we write a book together? And so that's how that book came about. It really teaches you how to slow your rate of aging and at the same time do those habits that make it very likely you won't run out of money. You'll have enough money to last forever and enough bone strength and memory to last so that you won't break a hip and you'll remember where you put your money.
That sounds like a marvelous combination to me. I think we can all use that, that's for sure. Let's slow down that aging process, stay healthy, and make sure you got $1 in your pocket. I don't know what could be any better than that. And but Dr. Roizen, let me just say this. We only have maybe a minute and a half here or so. But the message I'm taking away from you, too, is that everybody who's doing these things needs to consult their personal health care practitioner before they start any kind of a dietary supplement program. And I think is that would be your strongest advice?
That's exactly the strongest advice. And there are a couple reasons for that as we've gone through, but it is because so many of the interactions are important interactions. Even the one that the FDA issued the warning on several weeks ago about biotin and going to making sure your physician knows if you go to a heart attack, if you go to an emergency room with chest pain, that you're taking biotin because it suppresses the troponin level, which is a way we do it. Or that 18 or 19% of us who take high blood pressure pills are on some other pill or supplement that interacts with that in an adverse way.
Dr. Roizen, unfortunately, we're going to have to leave it there, but we want to thank you for all your time this day. Dr. Michael Roizen, the Chief Wellness Officer at the Cleveland Clinic. Risky drug-nutrient interactions, a fascinating topic, and you can go to personanutrition.com to find out more information about that. We could do another hour very easily with Dr. Roizen here, that is for sure. But again, thank you for your time this day, sir. We'll invite you to come back and do this again in the near future. This is the Florida Roundtable, the service of Florida's Talk and Entertainment Networks. I'm Reagan Smith.
And I'm Michael Yaffee.
A brief closing thought in a moment.
Florida is kayaking country. Kayaks are a great vessel for exploring the state's beautiful waterways. But it's important to be prepared for the journey, regardless of your experience level. Get your boater education and learn about you and your craft's abilities. It'll help you have a safer, more enjoyable time on the water. Before you go, know your limits and always wear your life jacket. Safe boating is no accident. To learn more, visit the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission at myfwc.com.
Unexpected expenses can hit anyone, and many Floridians turn to small dollar loans to manage those temporary financial challenges. When using a small dollar loan, be sure to choose a state licensed lender. Remember that borrowers have rights under Florida law, including flexible repayment options if you can't repay on time. Make sure you understand the cost and terms of the loan before you borrow, and only borrow what you can afford to pay back. For more information, go to borrowsmartfl.com. This message is brought to you by the Florida Community Financial Services Association.
If you're 85 or younger, would you like peace of mind and comfort for your family? We're Final Expense Direct with an urgent message for you. The average funeral today costs over $8,000, but the most you'll get from government benefits is $255. How will your family pay the difference? We can help. Our senior plans start as low as just $1 a day and pay up to $30,000 for a funeral and other final expenses. Peace of mind is easy. There's no medical exam. You'll have lifetime coverage, and your plan can't be canceled as long as you pay your premiums. Call now for free information about our senior plans. Answer a few simple questions and receive approval right on the phone. Plus, call right now and we'll give you a discount prescription card for free. Call 800-321-5396. That's 800-321-5396. Again, 800-321-5396.
In a world of tiny tomatoes and backyard pests, one man and his better half dig deep to save backyard gardens.
Joni, stand by to upload expert videos.
Already loaded, Tom.
Wow, you're good.
You're not so bad yourself.
Tom and Joni McCubbin star in hisandhersgardening.com. Critics rave.
Tom and Joni, they really grow on you. 2 green thumbs up.
Don't miss hisandhersgardening.com.
Employ Florida offers resources and services to help you find employment.
Hi, Gary here. Employ Florida helped me improve my interview skills, plus write a great resume. I attended networking events with many employers and other industry professionals just like me. With the workshops and training found at employflorida.com, I was able to land a great job in my field.
Job resources, real results, hired. Employflorida.com. That's employflorida.com.
We are back. This is the Florida Roundtable, the service of Florida's Talk and Entertainment Networks. I'm Reagan Smith.
And I'm Michael Yaffee.
And I would say, Mike, that Dr. Michael Roizen knows his stuff. He does.
Oh, there's no doubt about that.
I found a wealth of information in there, personanutrition.com. And, having grown up in Cleveland and spent many years there, when somebody tells you that they are the chief wellness officer of the Cleveland Clinic, I sit up and take notice.
Yeah.
That is a position that doesn't come easily. This is a world-renowned institution. But, Michael, you have a couple of other venues. Tell the folks about them.
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at Beyond Reason R. I call it that because I have my own show, Beyond Reason Radio, where I talk faith, culture, and politics. And you can find that on iHeartRadio. Just search Beyond Reason Radio.
And that's a pretty good combination, I can tell you. And Michael handles it very well. Well, as always, we want to say thank you for your time. Every week we know you have lots of choices out there. And Michael and I are always delighted when you decide to spend a few minutes with us. I'm Reagan Smith.
And I'm Michael Yaffee.
See you next week with another edition of the Florida Roundtable.
You've been listening to the Florida Roundtable, a news and public affairs presentation of the Florida News Network. The views and opinions expressed during this show are solely those of the participants and not necessarily those of this station's management, ownership, or sponsors. Please email your comments to reagansmith@fnnonline.net.